Usually puts it this way.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody ready? This meeting is now called to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bacon,
Here.
Mr. DeCosta,
Here.
Mr. Lawrence,
Present.
Ms. Lewis,
Here.
Ms. Martin,
Here.
Mr. Thielacker,
Here.
President Bioki,
Present.
Mayor DeMarco. I don't believe we keep going.
Mr. Corp.
Mr. Corbel,
I'm here.
Mr. Brett,
Here as well.
Chief Williams.
Here.
And myself, Ms. Watt.
Okay, great. We'll move right on to public comment. This is for agenda items and non-agenda items. At this time, only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Forest Hills will be permitted to address council on any issue, whether appearing on today's agenda or not. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them, who may speak for a maximum of 10 minutes. Speakers are asked to use the microphone at the speaker's stand. Clearly state your name and spell it, and state your address for the record. If you have any documents to share with council members, you may present them to the borough manager now. Council president will determine how those materials will be distributed and viewed for the meeting. Speakers are reminded that council uses these comment periods as opportunities to gather information and not to respond directly to concerns raised. Information gathered will not be discussed at the meeting, but instead will be referred by the council president to the appropriate committee for review and discussion at the next committee meeting. If it is not a matter for deliberation by a committee, but requires more immediate attention, it will be referred to the borough manager, who will respond by phone and or email within 5 business days following this meeting. Do we have any speakers?
Bill Canassa, 140 Tanglewood Drive, here saying the road. They're over there, right, for yourself. We are concerned about something that was.
Please speak into the microphone.
And that's one of the things. So, being group, you know, I have 10 minutes to represent group. So, the first item I will bring up is this audience. It is awful. Everybody has to be all the time speaking in a microphone. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. I'm trying to address an entire group across this board. But if you go on to True City TV and you watch that, you will see that it is terrible. The words are just completely taken out of context, sometimes don't match up with anything. So if any of you want to see this meeting, and I think Mr. Bacon, he's one of you. Did anybody else even view this to see how bad it is? It's awful. And Joe was trying to follow along, and he told me, he said, Bill, I can't understand this one. So I said, well, file a complaint. And he did. You know what he got? Nothing. No response. Okay, so to make sure I'm not in error, Joe's right here. I also filed with one formal complaint, and you know what I got? Nothing. So that's item number one. We're going to put this into 2 buckets. One bucket, good government, the other bucket, bad government. So, Mr. Tomasi, I filed a complaint, I get nothing. I am trying to get that system fixed. I have asked repeatedly, with statements at council meetings, to no avail. Seems like this, nobody cares. So that indifference that we're being shown, both Joe and I, since Joe and me, indicates that's a bad guy. Bill Tenassi, on the other hand, believes that the system should be fixed. You should take it from your action. That's item number one. So, in regards to that item, I would appreciate it if somebody would give us back a written response by email or whatever, telling us what they need to do. And please don't tell us that you're gonna sit with the committee and have it buried, like Lawrence buried, that discussion associated with public meeting attendance at the meetings. But in the committee, never heard anything. Number two, along with equipment, we have an overhead dredges. That was paid for by the residents. Can't use it. I have commissioners. I just saw something today. But I'm not going to address the issues about that situation involving power until 2 weeks from now. But all these people here have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that we cleaned up the street at the corner of Black Lane and Tangle. They can't see it up there, you're talking about. You guys have on your phones, if you run with me. And we show them to the public. So we have a system, no cost. All we have to do is to get the images up here so that I can point out and support my case. Every time I make that recommendation, I go keep watching. Can go there. What would be the reason behind such a thing? Why would you not permit me to show this? And by the way, he talked about a couple of pictures since the last meeting. Nobody could see what he was talking about. We don't know what he's talking about. He just says, I took 2 pictures. And by the way, they were both on Saturday. The pictures that I want to show are before and after on Saturday and then Sunday. After 3 residents cleaned up that street. 3 of us. On Sunday morning, Donna Medeiros, 132 Tanglewood. She was here and she had put that at the meeting. Christine Moran, over. See the back of the stuff coming in. I mean, what am I supposed to do? He was another resident, 160 Tanglewood Drive, and Bill Tomasi. 140 Tanglewood Drive. On Sunday morning, we discussed our options to get our power back. What are we gonna do? So the 3 of us decided we were going to clean it up. And we did. And I want to show those 2 pictures, at least 2. I think there's 4. I think 5 at the next meeting. And I want to go through the whole episode. All of you I've sent emails to. And if you've read it, great. And if you haven't, you should. And by the way, you should view the meeting with Dawn Medeiros, the testament. And by the way, it was amazing. She actually thanked me and Chris, who called Kit, for cleaning up the street. The only 3 people were there on Sunday morning. Were the 3 of us. Now, we had been in touch with Duquesne Life. We said you had to have that reclean up in order to restrain the march. So I tried to pin them down a little bit. I was on the phone all the way through the night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And they said, listen, we'll send somebody out, we can't guarantee it. So when we were working there, I was shocked, no pun intended, that the King Line showed up. And the guy said, looked at it and said, we can strain that. We can strain that today. And they did. And Mr. Morris was there that afternoon. He could attest to the fact that they were working for the time. So we ended up getting our tile line that day. Now, I'm still a little bit fuzzy in terms of the presentation that Leoki made the other night. I will go through that once I get a written copy. And there seems to be like a problem there. So he takes some pictures and he says this and he says that. I think erroneous we kept using about the complaint. Okay, now, there was all kinds of things going on that like for that day. And there were multiple calls made to all kinds of different people with Parvo neighbors about getting the tree wood. And the best I can make out right now is that they made some type of arrangement to get power back on. Now, what was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, one of those things. One of those days, after he brought in some company clean up what we did in a couple hours. And I have other information to share. But I want to try and come to the point of what we actually did as residents of the borough. I want people to see up on the screen, okay, the evidence that supports what we did. So, the fact that we can't get that up on the screen, for whatever reason, not like any one of you give me a logical explanation as to why you can't have it. And we all have it. Okay? The next time I'm going to have a discussion with the being barred, I'm going to use that word, from coming to public to committee meetings, which used to be public last year. They changed the rules. It's interesting how we did it. So I was in here several meetings, asking them to do the following. Bring the motion up and vote on it. Never happened. Never happened. Yeah, it was sent to committee, and that's my request, was if anything sent to committee out in this meeting, that I get and we get, report in writing. Okay, I don't want that buried here, because what we did was you snuck it through the back door. Rather than bringing up the motion and voting on it, you went back a year and a half. They were found, then made the date official, so that you didn't have to vote on whether or not you wanted to block the public from coming to the meeting. Isn't that what happened? You thought you were going to sneak out of the line, but you didn't. So, what I'm asking you to do is to take a look and say, look at what I'm asking for and suggesting that you do. Okay? All right, like 10 minutes is up. I thank you very much. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Anyone else? No other speakers? Okay. We'll move on to the committee reports, operations and policy, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want something to pass along to everyone. All right, first of all, simple appointment of Marcia Baran to the Arts and Culture Advisory Council as followed. Motion to appoint her as a full member to the Arts and Culture Advisory Council, term to end 8/31/2027. Does anyone have questions? She was recommended by the committee.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, so we'll put that up for the business meeting.
Sorry.
Sorry. I will ask the manager to double check whether she's up as a full member or an alternate. I think she applied as an alternate, but they may have a little bit, you know, respect. You were just kind of waiting, but yes.
Apologies, we're about to get to this. Remember last time someone asked a question about terms and how they had all started at the same time.
Yeah, we found out the last person was filling in, so they'll end at the first term and then be renewed at the subsequent term. So that person we were voting on last time was correct.
So is that the only committee that has it like sharp ended everybody?
No, I think it was when we redid the committee structures, it started that way.
Right, I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So, having recently looked at our website, each committee has the terms listed. They're different per committee. I don't have it up now, but I could pull it up, but each one of those individual committees has
Different term.
terms listed on the website.
Yeah. Is there a question? we're.
No, I thought that was your question.
No, I wasn't asking a question. I'm just responding to Ian to say that the last time we were questioning the end date for that term. And it turns out that the end date a year from now was correct. Because it's the end of the first term of the person she's filling in for. And then after that, she could be renewed.
I follow up on what I was trying to ask, but didn't know it at the time. I think. So that committee, they all have the same term end, correct? So there's no overlap, right? It's a total.
But remember, that's the newest committee.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask if there's anything that anyone considers an issue to try and address in the future over time.
Probably something to look at.
Yeah. And may even just take care of itself, because people rotate.
Yeah, I'll put it on the thing you got. And, yeah, that's kind of, over the years, I've spent a little bit of a few of them. Okay, everyone should get a two-sided document called council committee meeting policy. So. In April. It was pushed off some policies to address this question in public meetings with committees. We discussed it last month. The committee has put together a two-page document, which is a proposal for addressing the question. I would like to take a lot of your time tonight and go through this slowly, so you can understand what we're proposing. The way I'll do it is I'm just going to go through this document. I'm not going to talk about what I or anyone else think are the merits of this document, just explain it. And then after that, I'd like both of the committee members to give their thoughts on this. I will do that, and then it's time for the council members to do a round robin and discuss it. Work for you? All right. Basically, it's this: the council committees may meet in public or not as deemed appropriate by the council committee chair in consultation with its members on a meeting by meeting basis, basically month by month. Each we could determine 1 month to have it public, another month not to do so. Now, the next thing in there is, again, not arguing for and against this policy, just making sure everyone understands. These committees are 3-person advisory bodies. They have no authority to make decisions, bind the borough, take any official action. They can gather information, make recommendations, but that's it. They lack any authority, and they are not a quorum, so they are not subject to the Sunshine Act. The purpose of these 3-person committee meetings is basically, as I phrased it here, to collate an understanding of the issues and topics, and then present those in the agenda setting meeting where council deliberates in public. Residents may offer comments at the agenda setting meeting, which is where we are tonight. And this is the place where they get to listen to us deliberate at the committee level these topics. All right. There are certain times when the chair may determine it's of particular value to invite residents, expert people, whatever, to help them in their discussion. Should the chair choose to open and make the meeting in public, there are 9 recommendations or parameters of how we would go and do that. Number 1, public notice posted at least 4 business days prior to the meeting on the website. The meetings could be held in person or by video conferencing. The time and place will be posted on the Forest Hills website. 2, a list of the topics expected to be discussed will be included in the posted announcement. Let's see. As non-quorum events, they can only meet to discuss topics and provide information and recommendations to council. Nuts and bolts, the announcement should include a sign-up for residents who wish to speak at the meeting. They need to sign up a minimum 24 hours ahead of the scheduled meeting with their name, address, email address, and the topic they wish to discuss, so they can be prepared for that. These would be required fields. If the meeting by video, we would get them the access code. The chair would do a standard public comment statement at the start of the meeting if people want to speak. They would have to abide by the policy and public comments. Minimum 5 minutes, as we do now. 7, the chair may choose to end the meeting at any time as perceived safety, or reasonable decorum are at risk. I want to mention that these meetings will probably be in the small conference room, 3 people plus any resident, probably in the evening in an empty building. That's why these things are mentioned on 7. The chair may choose to record the meeting for purposes of maintaining a personal record. The details of how that would have to be handled are in number 8. Again, you can invite people who are non-council members, provide expert advice or relevant input. For instance, in public works, we always have the engineer there to help us out. Again, the decision to be held, the decision to open every meeting or any meeting on a month-by-month basis would rest with the chair. That's the council's recommendation. The 2 members of the committee, Mr. Crossley, do you have any thoughts to add?
Just to let you all know that we discussed and deliberated this quite a bit. We've been going back and forth on what the best way to handle this. It's complex. And so, we see the merit, of course, and asking the public to attend meetings, but sometimes that will not be efficient or effective. And so we want to be able to, since we're not subject to the Sunshine Act, we'd like to be able to have certain meetings where it's just committee members to really be able to deliberate about things. But that doesn't have to be all meetings or most meetings. There's also some serious concerns about safety for council members and for the public and given some of our experiences of late. And so we want to be sure that, we're very conscious of that, of our fellow council members, making sure that they feel comfortable and able to meet in person, should that be a concern. So those are the thoughts I have just to add to what you said, but this pretty much encompasses, I think, what people had submitted to us. And the main point being that the committee chair will make the meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Crossley. Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. We meet on Mondays and there's 3 committees back to back. There's a half an hour for each committee. And for instance, on Public Works, when I came in as the chair, there was a lot of, we'll say, loose ends. And getting 4 or 5 items discussed is actually, we run past time a lot. We are in a small conference room, and it's very nice to be able to lay out blueprints that LSSE provides, and some of them are rather large, especially when we're looking at, wait till you see the roadmap when we get that approved. We'll have a new one for up on the wall. But nonetheless, because we are here, there's no one else in the building. We don't have a policeman present. There are safety concerns. And I do not want to come here if I don't feel safe or be pressured into something where I have fellow council members as well as the engineers come. If I don't feel safe, I don't think they should as well. And that ends my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan.
I have a question.
Yes.
The various committees have advisory groups attached to almost all of them. They don't.
No, we did already that. We saw the liaison process. Okay, let me go through a couple things. I just want to reiterate that there may be a misperception that a lot of serious decisions, take away the word serious, decisions are made in this committee. Tonight is where the sausage is made, okay? If residents want to listen to the committees, discuss and try to reach a decision, it's tonight where they're going to do it, not at the committee. So I think it's very important. The other thing I want to mention is that prior to this setup, there was only one night a month where the public could come and make comments. We moved to this form with the agenda meeting like we have tonight. And I think that that's the place where I think we're getting most response, the most people showing up, because this is where they're staying and watching the decision be made. So I do want to emphasize that whatever you decide tonight, that we have increased the opportunities for, I think, really useful public comment space that we didn't have before. One of the other things I want to point out, and I noted this too, you know, in that opening little thing and say, it will be the topic, someone brings it up to resident, it'll be sent to committee. And there's a little perception there's a bit of a black hole there. Opening the public committee meetings are not resolving that. They are going to take your questions, go to the committee, collect the data we need, and then bring it to the meeting tonight, where we will be bringing up, as we are right now, bringing up the question that's been mentioned many times, where did this discussion meeting go? It's happening here right now. So I think the thought that this stuff falls into the abyss is an incorrect perception. Yes.
Sorry, so as I hear you explaining this, the various advisory councils, when they have action they want to request from council, need to come to this agenda setting meeting, present their issue, report, and request for action at that time. Is that correct?
Well, I tell you what, we're looking at a very different question there, how the advisory committee work with the council. I mean, this is something different. This is just meetings public.
Microphone.
And I think we are bringing, yes, Mr. Baker.
No, I'm
So, yeah, right. So if I may, I can say that's really not what we're talking about. Okay, and I get what you're going there, and that's something we may or may not talk about tonight, you know, topics, but that's kind of set aside, so I apologize.
I did want to add something, if you don't mind. You know, from time to time, we'll have public, residents come to public meetings. And, be frustrated that they're not getting a response or there's no action taken. These things take time. And so if something is presented to us, it is then sent to committee, we discuss it, we bring it to agenda setting. It takes time to get through certain issues, especially something like this. So it's not that we're ignoring anybody, it's not that we're not listening or hearing, it's that it takes time. And that's all I want to get. And this process is part of it.
Yeah, and we have made explicit discussions on this topic in the April and May agenda meetings. So it did not fall off the place the earth there. Then the other thing is that I really have concerns about safety. I don't want to go into detail, but as you know, public discourse has become increasingly uncivil, and we are not immune to that. And I am extremely concerned about some of the situations we may create. All of these meetings are in public. I think that's really almost something I can't get past. So if I can just finish up and then.
I just have a question.
Mhm.
Do we not have a 24-hour police department? I'm just wondering,
You know that we do.
right, I mean. So I wanted to make sure that I understood that correctly. We have police officers in this building every day, 24 hours a day. Is that correct, chief?
They're not necessarily in this building.
But they're on call and they're
Yes, yes,
available
they're available.
and in our burn.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear. Thank you.
Anyhow, Mr. Walwell, like I said before, you're alone in this building. There is no connection between the conference room or this with the police department, except for maybe a safety. I don't want to discuss it in public, but that's an issue. We are alone in that conference room. Finally, I'm just gonna make my plea. Let's try not to take this down an absolute, one solution is absolutely right and one solution is absolutely wrong. This is truly a compromise. Leaving it open to the chair with the hope that most of these can be open except for times when they feel either unsafe or just not gonna be particularly productive. But I think this is frankly a compromise. It's relatively practical. And that's what I hope you consider. So if we can move on, just if I can go down and commit council members and ask for your thoughts. Would you like to do that? Ms.
Want me to start?
Yes.
Sure. So, I have. Being a woman. Being someone who knows what it feels like to be physically inferior. Growing up in an urban environment. I was one of a group of people to organize a Take Back the Night March. I'm not insensitive at all to feelings of being unsafe. Without getting very personal, I have had myself incidents in my life where I have been mistreated, and I don't want to undersell that. But at the same time, and with respect, Jack, to, your comments, and I understand how seriously you took this role. There is no opportunity guaranteed to our residents to be able to have a discussion. There is an opportunity for our residents to come here and have 5 or 10 minutes to make a statement, but not to ask questions and not to get a response and not to have a discussion. If the chair chooses to make that available to our residents, then they can have it. But if the chair chooses not to do that, then there is absolutely no opportunity on any one of these key areas of operation. And I have a fundamental issue with that. Governance is a public sport. We all ran for council. It is widely known that there is one in every crowd all the time. And I'm very sorry that some of our more exuberant residents are making people feel uncomfortable. And I'm really sorry about that. But I also feel that blocking out other residents from being able to participate and engage in an active dialogue at a meeting with their elected officials is not correct. I don't think it's correct. And so for that reason, I don't think this policy goes far enough because it doesn't provide an opportunity for our residents to engage with us as we discuss, deliberate, collect information, because it provides no opportunity for a discussion. And the reason I asked about the police department was not to bait. It was simply to say, Chief, if something goes down in this building, how fast can you get an officer here?
So that's the question. That's the question.
Okay, I just did.
I don't think I can give you a guarantee
There we
of
go.
on response based on other situations that may be going on at the same time. If our officers are filing on a serious call, there may be a delay in getting it. In that case, they would ask the mutual aid community to come and assist as well. But again, there will definitely be a response.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's,
You're not, you're just putting me in a position where I really can't answer the question to your, satisfaction, because I can't guarantee you a timeline. In most cases, I would say that they could be here 2 minutes or less. But there is that one time when they're on the other side of the borough, when it's a serious incident, and that could be anything from a car accident with injuries, the roads blocked, and it could be a million things to create those situations. So I can't say that they could be here in 2 minutes or less. In some cases, you may not have to worry about that at all. They may be here at the building doing some paperwork that needed to be done. They may be here, having their lunch per se. So again, I can't give you a timeline on how long or if, or, we're dealing with a variable situation I can't answer.
I could work with Paul on that sheet. Actually, if we could just follow along. Anything else, Ms. Lewis? Mr. Bacon?
thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Bacon?
First of all, I appreciate you guys coming up with this in the format and everything. I think this is a very productive way to address this. One thing that I do not notice in here, I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but I don't actually see us explicitly stating there's a monthly. Like cadence to this. And I think that might be a good thing to leave out, because having the flexibility, even if it's posting at least 4 business days before. There's been a lot of time where some committees have some like important bid day or something like that, and then just miss the process working smoothly. And lose like a month of time. So whether that is intentional or not, I think maybe we should. Embrace that flexibility even further, and maybe in rare situations, I'm ready for bombarding by my fellow committee members, that suggestions, but maybe there's times when we should have like 2 meetings in a month for some committees. And if that is within the realm of this, when necessary, I think that's a good bit of flexibility to maybe codify, or at least leave in like a kind of gray area that's needed. I think it could be very helpful. As to the other concerns about having access to dialogue with, elected officials, and all of that. And then also concerns about how do we get information from the advisory committees when appropriately directed to one of the committees. I just propose that we consider maybe 2 other policies to kind of adapt on it, because I think the listening sessions that some of our friends they've been having are very productive. And also I would like to see some sort of better official connection for getting information from the advisory committees when there's very clear like relevant connection. And I agree that it's commonly kind of a one-to-one relationship, but not always, and we definitely can have different relationships and directions that process should go. So I would just suggest for our next steps, considering those 2 other directions to kind of flesh out the whole picture.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bayo.
I'd like to comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I would like to go back to, this is the only forum where council members get to speak to the public. I often get emails forwarded. I guess it just depends on what committee you're involved with, and that there's much more interest or concerns or requests. I'll have emails forwarded to me by people that don't want to drive up here. They can't make it at night and they have an issue. They provide their phone number. I call them up and talk with them. If there's something that needs to go to committee, fine. But if it's just for information, people don't want to come here. So this really isn't the only forum, if you want to call that a public forum. But you know, what would I do? Right? I talked to so-and-so about this. I mean, that's just not practical. Now, I wanted to touch base on what you were saying about the advisory committees. What happened previously is Don Branzel was an employee here, and he was the chair of the Shade Tree and Shrub Committee. So he would report every month at the Committee of the Whole. That was the second meeting. Council knew every single thing that was happening. Issues were all discussed. And we, the previous manager eliminated the liaisons. So right now, unless the committees either give a report to the manager or, I mean, I've been talking to several members about different issues. And one thing I've noticed is because there's not one direct person they're speaking to, there's so much misinformation going on and rumors that I really think something should be done, but I don't know that it should be part of this because this just has to do with committees. Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Ms. Bayo.
Sure. Okay, a couple of things. Regarding the opportunities for residents to contact either the borough or individual council members, as Ms. Martin pointed out. Our emails are on the website. They can certainly, and they haven't been shy about sending emails to every council member with a concern or an issue. Also, if you'll go to the website, on the page where we have our agendas and minutes, it does state that if you have an issue or concern or an idea, to please call the borough office. The borough office, it leaves some information. Then that information will get passed on to the appropriate person. There's also a form on the website to submit that. And in that instance, it will be referred to a committee chair, and then the committee chair at that point could decide if we adopt this policy to decide whether or not to make the meeting public. Regarding the advisory committees or the appointed committees, let me say this. The role of all appointed committees and advisory councils is to advise and recommend. Some of the ideas have been thrown out about improving communications between them is great. However, our manager will be working on these committees and councils, or working with the committees and councils to clarify some of these issues and act as an initial point of contact. Has been the case, committees and advisory councils have been encouraged to attend council meetings to present their recommendations. They have not done so. Their activities on behalf of the borough always need prior approval by council. So that it's pretty much.
Anything else regarding the
Comment.
policy?
No, I think the policy is addresses a lot of the concerns that most of the council members had. It does provide opportunities for the public to attend when there is some subject matter that may be pertinent to those individuals that they would like to comment on. Like I said, there's other opportunities to comment on other matters, whether or not they're being reviewed by a council or even this council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Bianca.
I wanted to respond to the advisory committee comments as well. We're noticing that in some policies as well, and so we're discussing a new structure that might, allow for some connections that wasn't the old structure. I don't want to say anything specifically now, but we are recognizing the fact that, committees need connection to council in certain ways. So we're going to discuss it more. I just wanted to put that out there. And I just wanted to address Ms. Lewis' comments about there's no opportunity. No, there is an opportunity in this new one. It's just not going to be all the time blanketed. And, in government, there's always closed committee meetings and things like that too. So I think if we were to balance it appropriately, I think it's going to, and it just worked. We may just have to try it. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bianca.
Thank you.
When you open.
Before I forget, Chief, obviously, if you're at committee meetings, so nice to get an officer detail to those, you need a building for those meetings, right? If that was your request, yes. Thank you. So I think, my ultimate goal, I guess, would be to have them completely open, right? That's kind of where I come from. And I do understand some of the other concerns we have. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is we want to foster discussion between residents. That's why they're coming to committee meetings. That's why they used to, or that's why they discuss with these meetings. Currently, we used to come to committee meetings to discuss with borough council your issue, things that are going on. Even in this sign up, get your 5-minute talk, that's not a discussion. We're not kind of getting down to the issues and trying to fix things. And that's the whole point of this. That's kind of a biggest thought on that. Then it would come down to, how we're operating and how we're figuring these things out. I mentioned a couple times before, but obviously I won't put in the same boat with the school board right now. I don't want people talking about them, talking about us the same way people talking to them right now, myself included. So I think it's something for us to keep in mind how we operate.
Anybody have a second round you want to go through, or? Mr. Bayer.
Yeah, I just want to clarify with the chief. Assigning an officer here during random committee meetings, is that practical?
You may have to pay an additional officer in some cases, we have usually two, maybe three on. And it depends on the events of the evening, how their needs would be required, maybe on the occasion. If you ask for that, and you were okay with us going as far as adding another person if necessary, then yes, there may be a cost involved.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else want to do any second follow-up, not just to rehash what's already been said, but any additional thoughts you have? You want to go through the line again? or- No, okay, all right then. We have made decision. Before I suggest, let's take a vote on this. Is there anything that you could see to change this so you can accept this approach? Ms. Lewis,
I wanna make a recommendation.
okay?
Several of my colleagues on council have indicated that they feel that email is an adequate way, and maybe it is. You know, maybe my opinion is not shared by the residents. But my suggestion might be that we make this potential policy available for our residents and give them a period to comment. And to say if they feel that this is the way that they want us, their council, to govern, and if it's adequate. And if they feel comfortable that if they have an issue and they know that, you know, a particular one of us is the chair of a particular committee, and they feel comfortable with that, and they don't wanna come here, you know, as Ms. Martin suggested in her comments, then that's fine, and I would feel better. But as it stands, absent that, I know as a resident, I would feel like I was being left out of a decision-making process by my elected body. So I might suggest that we put this out to our residents and let them comment.
Any follow-ups on that one?
Yes.
Mr. Baker? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Baker.
Oh, sorry, no, go ahead. Mr. Bill.
Mr. Baker?
I have a generally similar thought and approach, I think, although I am comfortable with moving forward with this now and then seeing how it goes and encouraging comments. What I would like to make sure we do is that we do have this actually published and fairly easily findable as a policy on the website.
Agreed. Absolutely. Anyone else? Ms. Martin?
What I wanted to say is, we're elected officials. If we give every single decision up to the residents to decide, we would never even need to meet. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, concerning Ms. Lewis's comment, how would that be distributed for comment, and what would be the parameters to determine whether or not the residents are in favor of it or not? In other words, the percentage of the respondents, how would you do that?
I think there are lots of ways to do it. We could make it publicly available on our website. We could send out something via Savvy Citizen. We could very easily create a form on our website for residents to be able to provide their feedback. I would be more than willing to take the time, because I'm the one who feels strongly about this issue, to process those and provide a summary to council in 1 month of the feedback. Or to delay this to our business meeting if, you know, people feel that it needs, you know, to move quickly, but I would be more than happy to do that, and I don't think that that would be a big lift.
Anybody else? Yeah.
No, I don't look at that idea at all, especially how he just explained it. I'm obviously not taking on a vote for that per se.
It's not like yes or no, but at least get some more comments and input, see if they were missing anything, if it off the mark. Or if there's a huge number of people in favor of one way or the other, to do something, then maybe, need to adjust all that process. Okay, thanks. I'll just go ahead and make a couple of comments. I would worry a little bit that there's a lot of self-selection that goes on when we reach out for input. And that's very true for the residents who do get involved. By self-selection, they may not, and I don't mean this in a negative way, be representative of the population. As far as these committee meetings being places of open and ongoing discussion and talk, I think that's how each chair is going to decide to do it. You may be more comfortable sitting there with a resident and having a 20-minute conversation. But I am going to mention something, and it's not going to sound too great when I say it, but at some point, we can get all the input we want, but we were elected to make some decisions. And yeah, it's frustrating. People are going to come to these meetings and they think you're a terrible person because what you want. If you make everyone happy, you're not doing anything. So I think you have to be a little practical about how you want to go about these meetings when they are in public, whether all of them are or not. Just having an open-ended, let's sit around and talk, I think may lead you into some trouble. Because in the end, you gotta make a decision. And it's the agenda meeting, by the way, to reinforce what I said before, where the decisions are made. So those are my two thoughts. At this point, we can go two roads. We can just have an up or down vote for this. I sort of get the feeling that people are still maybe not quite ready to go for that up and down vote. Would I be correct in that?
I'm ready to do it.
I
You
think
ready,
we
Mr.
should-
Bacon?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
It's a question, yeah, are we
Yeah.
voting to move this forward as a motion at the business meeting, or?
Here's the other way I say it. You can sat on, we got this proposal tonight, we can say, we can have a vote. Yes, this is the way we're gonna go, we'll put it in the business meeting, we'll vote, and it'll be passed. You can look at it tonight and say, no, we're gonna vote, and this is not going to work. We will have to replace it with something, which will delay the process another month, at least. So that's one way to do it, not one out vote tonight. The other way is sort of sneak around the corner a little bit. I saw two proposals. One was to cross the sort of indicated, let's go ahead with this, but maybe a 3 or 4 month time limit for further evaluation. Maybe you can add Ms. Lewis's idea of getting public input. So you could push it, go ahead with it, vote to approve it with a 4-month limit and get some input and see what we think in 4 months. Or you could just say, we need input and we're not gonna make any decision tonight until we get input. Anybody want to get this moving?
I mean, I think to get it moving, we've been asking for comment from our colleague for several months now, and it's been hard to, everybody's a little confused about really what should happen, or not confused, have a very strong opinion. So I kind of like that compromise in terms of maybe get something in place, give it a try while public comment is going on. And we can collect some comments, and then at the end of that probationary period or test period or whatever we want to call it. We then evaluate some of the feedback that we got from residents and revisit it and make a final decision. Unless that's too wishy-washy to everybody else. I know you're looking forward to putting this to bed,
No.
but
I'll tell you what, I'm just gonna go out the ledge here and say, could we take this proposal, approve it for a 4-month probationary period, in the next week or two, come up with ideas to encourage public input, see how it goes. And then maybe we can make an informed decision. Would you folks be okay with that, Ms. Lewis?
I'm just wondering how this is different from what we've been doing. Like why we are approving a policy that we don't know if we really like. I mean, is the thought that it's a trial run? Or is the thought that, like, I'm unclear,
Okay, right now,
because right now we're kind of doing this
actually not.
in function.
In-
Some of us have
but it wasn't an official policy.
I understand that, but what is written in here is sort of what we're doing now.
Okay, I'll give my answer. Unfortunately, 1 through 9, we're not doing.
At all.
None of that is going on right now. This is an informal, they're open or closed as we choose. They're frankly, I think they're all being open right now. Nobody's closed them that I'm aware of, but we're not doing anything for 1 through 1 through 9 to do this. So I think no matter what we do, we still need to do 1 through 9. I think that part of the proposal should be followed up with, be my thought. Yes.
I haven't seen that any of the committee meetings have been advertised. I think the way that the residents and committee chairs have participated when they have is because they contacted us.
Okay, well, if we go ahead with this, even if you drop the opening. That everything, that it's open to the chair, I do recommend we formally. Put in place 1 through 9, because we don't have anything like that. We need to do that no matter what. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I just think we're conflating two different things. I believe that what you've stated is very clear. The committees have not been operating on the 1 through 9 suggested parameters. So I would say to wind this up, we should just go around and see if we're gonna adopt this policy and do the 4-month trial period while we get some comments.
Should that be 2 separate quote unquote votes in terms of what one?
I think we
Let's,
should.
let's package it together,
So,
get it out of here. The only thing I'll mention is, on a practical note, it's gonna take some time. If you can't tomorrow morning get this stuff on the website and have these little forms available, I don't know how long that's gonna take to do. So we have to think about, even to get some of the one,
I might suggest about a week.
okay. Well, that would give us 4 months. If we could go, where are we, June now? July, August, September, October, 4 months. We revisit this in October. In the meantime, that gives us some idea, gives us time to figure out how we'll get input. I don't think we're in a rush to get the input. We're going into vacation season, so anything we're gonna send out probably is gonna go into the abyss, but yes. Yes, Ms. Lewis.
In both of the public comment statements that we post on our agenda setting meeting and our council meeting, it's very explicit that information gathered will not be discussed at the meeting, but will instead be referred by the council president to the appropriate committee for review and discussion at the next committee meeting. So that can't apply to the committee meeting.
No,
So we need to be explicit that if people come and they have something to say, that I understand needing, especially given residents who may choose to dominate and take over a meeting, which is not fair to anybody, that there need to be safeguards for that, but I think there also need to be windows and doors open for well-meaning residents to come in, ask questions, and have a fruitful discussion, absent, you know, that. And so I feel like that's not represented in the words that are on this page, and if they can be tweaked a smidge, that would make me feel a little better.
okay, no, I get that. Quite frankly, I thought about that. It's gonna sound a little silly. You're in my committee meeting and say, "Ew, if you refer to committee, oops." No, your point is well taken. Honestly, that level of tweaking, I think we felt we were not gonna go down that road and do that work if this was not gonna be approved tonight.
That is not in the policy. What was just stated, that is not in the policy.
Okay.
What the policy does state is 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's the only other time.
But yeah, and I think you're gonna have to one. And then let's move on. But I think in the statements you're giving your committee. You may not be prepared to address the issue they're bringing to you. You just may not be able to, or not have enough information, and if you try to address it that night, you'll put your foot in your mouth. So I think we're gonna have to explain to them, yeah, we'll listen and talk to you, tell us what the story is. But we can't guarantee tonight we will pursue it without going any further. So anyhow. So can I get a vote on approving a probationary period for October with an effort the next month to collect a set of methods to get public input? And then we'll get 1 through 9 all set up. We'll tweak anything you think you need to say and call it a day.
We're gonna do that.
All right, Mr. Beatty, you have
Well,
anyone around that?
let's, we'll do a roll call vote. Okay,
All
All right.
right. Mr. Bacon,
Yes.
Mr. DeCosta,
Yes.
Mr. Lawrence,
Yes,
Ms. Lewis,
With tweaking of the language to make it explicit that there can be a discussion, yes.
I promise.
Ms. Martin.
I hope that this delay doesn't cause residents to come in, Mr. Lawrence, and accuse you of burying this again.
Amen.
Was that a yes?
I'll be happy to take responsibility for that.
That won't happen. Yes, a yes.
Mr. Thielacker,
As explicitly gonna be stated as the 4 month.
Yes, so we will review it in October.
Yes.
and Mr. Barioki.
yes. Okay, so that's approved.
Alrighty then. All right. I apologize if that took so long tonight. I'm sure none of you planned to do that. Very, very quickly then, on the general report, we just covered that. Oh, right. Grabbing back was, back in April, I passed along, and this is the same thing done on paper in April. Pass this along. It's a minor change to the public comment policy. Said you got a paper copy of it in April. I made a mistake of saying, well, let's delay making this change in case we're gonna do some other photos. But let's get this done for approval on the business meeting. It simply is covering up the tail end if we have any technical problems in the recording and handling of these meetings. Can you clarify that today?
Yeah, just one other point here. As Ms. Lewis pointed out, the statement needs to be modified slightly for the public comment for the committees.
Okay.
So that will have to be modified.
But can we, on the business meeting in 2 weeks, just approve the underlying section of back to page 2?
Yes.
Okay, everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Meeting or is it?
Oh, no, that's the entire policy. The statement is just a little piece of it. But this is the entire policy that goes on the website. Yeah. No, God, no, we're not reading this. You thought this was boring, I will recommend, the committee will recommend for the finance committee, considering putting some money aside, we'll have to consider how much it'd be to do a comprehensive ordinance overview. This has not been done for at least a decade or two, probably 2 decades, I'm guessing. Something we should do, I would like to see in the budget for 2027. Second, I'd like to consider, ideally for the January spring term, bringing an intern, probably from the master's HR degree, to review our personnel policies or lack thereof, and to review all of our public, like the thing you're looking at tonight is committee meeting policy. In the last 2 years, we've created 4 or 5 of these things. One is communications, one is delinquent payments. Those have been formally approved by council. Over the last, since Mr. Morris came in 2001, various councils have created informal policies. I have a pile of them that they need to be reviewed. They're probably outdated, embarrassing, and definitely not formally approved. And I think an intern could do a first cut on pointing out, oh, this is not a good idea. But so I'd like to put in for $2,000 for an intern for spring. I'll send over that formal request, and that, I believe,
Question,
yes,
Your comprehensive ordinance review, are you intending to review the zoning ordinances in that? I only mention that because the OHM advisors who are working with the Forest Hills Community Alliance are in the process of looking at our zoning ordinances and doing a commentary and update on them, and we want to hold that in.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great, but no, I didn't want to push the two together. The ordinance thing is a big enough problem. So, I think, Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. You did that in under 2 hours. Thank you. Before we move on, I was remiss in not acknowledging and welcoming our new borough manager, Miss Krista Watt.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, and we're looking forward to working with you. Next up is the Finance Committee, Mr. Thielecker.
Thanks. We want to innovation for a business meeting. And the energy advisor service agreement with LX Advisory Services, we have several LLCs follows.
Excuse me, is your mic working?
Probably not.
There you go.
Not close enough.
All right.
It's a motion to authorize the borough manager and energy advisory services agreement with LX Advisory Services USA LLC is a participating entity of Western Pennsylvania Energy Consortium, subject to approval by the borough solicitor. You're already in the Western Pennsylvania Energy Consortium, come up for renewal. We're kind of doing some digging on that, just to kind of take a look at that for us, Walt Allison, other checks and things. We were already more city of Pittsburgh, a bunch of other communities around, it kind of just seems like it makes sense to keep doing so. But we're gonna double check before we read if anything changes, we find information out that makes, seems like it doesn't make sense, we can just get rid of that motion.
Mr. Thielecker, I believe we participated in this in the past.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's just up for renewal.
Yeah.
So, that's all, I don't report to look at last month's finances, but we have some, more discussion with the new borough manager, probably have some more, exciting findings, I can just have more. That's all I have, Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thielecker. Moving on to borough property, Mr. Bacon.
Thank you. Well, I know, with motions to recommend this month, in the general report, there's some project updates. Just gonna mention these and if Mr. Reck wishes to comment, I'll just welcome. The pool building renovation is essentially done. There were, I think, maybe a few small items still left.
Yeah, just a couple very small items and we're getting through pictures in our review.
For those who have not been yet, I highly recommend checking it out. There's a massive improvement. And there were several comments taken by Mr. Reamer and staff during the initial weekend. Just things like adding trash cans in the restrooms, things like that, that we've already done. The steps project is still in, I believe, the same state as 2 weeks ago. There's just a few railings remaining to be installed. Any update on that?
I think the last item is the couple last railings. They have completed punches. On the rest of it, we did include some additional photograph system for everybody to see.
And the main front bridge is in place and solid. Public Works is in progress of building the next smooth concrete ramp from Connecticut to the main walkway through the park, and also right around on the other side. And also in Main Park and at the pool, the fence repairs were completed, so the park is back open and operational. And then of course the final update, and we pass that to Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Bacon. I just wanted to thank everyone that came to the Ryan Glen invasive plant eradication on Saturday. Looks like that park is pretty much a wrap. We only found one big patch left, but it looks very good. But I would like to thank 4 of our tree experts. They came out and volunteered their time, brought their whole family at no charge to the borough. They removed tons of invasive privet and really made the job a lot easier. The park looks great. Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, just some new items queued up for committee meetings. I think we might be adjusting the schedule this month to match up with any borough manager and make sure we have a good time to walk through together. Accomplish everything we'd like to do. We'll definitely be looking at operational and capital budget drafts. And then some items that are possible upcoming projects or just continuations or adjustments. To consider the pool lodge, the HVAC equipment, like some sort of improvement on that exposure. Possibly seeking and this state grant in the agenda, it's really more than DCNR project and support. This is not just looking for money, this is most of it be doing most of the work for the other things in the park. We should know more about that in July. And then doing some research on community garden options for the future. And then also looking into the proposal from Birdtown for a key switch tower in the park that would be externally funded. Unless there are questions.
Yes. Mr. Bacon. A couple of things, under the pool lodge HVAC. That is being appropriately handled by Mr. Reamer and the manager as required. So that's already under review, just so you're aware.
Agreed.
The other items, any of the grants for the one for the meadow plants, as well as the chimney swift tower, those should be referred to the grant search committee for consideration. In particular with the tower, that may involve some input by Public Works and engineering because of the proposed location that's in a wide open area that's subject to wind shear potentially and could cause a catastrophic situation if the right circumstances were to be involved. The other thing is that the cost needs to be covered for any installation as well. So that can't be just installed by anyone.
We are aware of this, chat.
Okay, just so you're.
For referring to other entities involved.
And the final thing on the, you mentioned the community garden. I believe that's a community project and not a council project. So just to be aware. That is where we stand with that. That's all. You have any other?
That's why I described it as research. It was better than options.
Okay,
And I think it was very well.
thank you, Mr. Bacon. We'll move on now to planning and zoning, Ms. Lewis.
There are no recommended motions this month, but as Mayor DeMarco mentioned, she and I and several others attended a presentation with the consultants retained by the Forest Hills Community Alliance, focused on the business district. And I know that Councilman DeCrosta last year had organized a group that included a number of members of the communities and the various groups focused on the business district. And Mayor DeMarco and I talked about having this project be a place where those conversations could continue instead of having all these segregated and sidebar conversations. So I thought it was a very good meeting. It's just beginning. There's lots of room for others to be integrated. So in between now and the next time that group meets, Mayor DeMarco and I are gonna reach out, make sure that anybody who is interested in the business district revitalization is included, as well as the sort of council committees that have been, talking amongst themselves, not the council committees, but the advisory committees around things related to the business district. Mayor DeMarco, do you have anything to add?
Just one thing, I've been visiting all the businesses, as part of the refinement of the business directory. I expect to post that by the end of June. And I need to have advice on how we put that up on the borough website and how we have access to updating all of that logistics. My conversations with businesses have been very positive. They have very good ideas about things they would like to do. Including a life, health fair. Which they'd like to do in tents down in the parking lot of the Yost. Parking area, shopping area. They also are interested in having pop-up concerts. And some of them are doing things like grilling outside in front of their business on Fridays, so. There is a growing interest in making it a little more of a community sense. Our walking tour with the advisors on Friday was very, dramatic, as it always is when you walk along Ardmore Boulevard in business time. The noise and the speed of the traffic is quite alarming, and they were shocked. I wasn't shocked, I think it was a lot. But we did identify a couple of options for pursuing things that are in the alleys design instead of on the front street. And we're all looking at some other kinds of ideas to make it a little more user friendly. The challenge is going to be, as it always has been, getting the Department of Transportation to agree to changing anything on their state road. However, the documentation that we've received from the police department regarding ongoing accidents and fatalities is bolded, and that is our trade in getting into their, planning system and having some attention paid. The hazardous conditions are occurring daily and are increasing, so that's where we are on that. Any of you who are interested in being involved, please let me know, and we'll notify you. We'll be meeting the week of August 3rd for our next meeting.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Public Works Committee, Ms. Martin.
Thank you, President Diakey. First up is the source flow reduction project. This has, we have a grant from the LSA in the 10% Alpha Sand drone match. Are we looking to get a motion for bids on that?
We get open bids, we have, 3 bids bid on the project, bids were with May 13th. Robinson Plate Cleaning Company was the low bidder for $230,751.25. So we do recommend award, you have $200,000 grant, plus you have 21% under road funding if it can be used for that project. So we thought you were gonna have to put in about 50%, and 250,000, and instead the project's fully funded. Reminder, since we have some new folks on council, the 10% reduction project is a requirement from your phase 2 consent order that you have with DEP and the health department, yours with the health department actually. That project's required to be completed and reported on by December. So this project will be completed over the next 2 months. And then your final report is due into the health department at the end of the year. So this would be a motion on the agenda, and I'll forward that to Chris.
Thank you. It's nice you don't have to spend something on it, that's it, huh? Moving on then. To the Public Works ADA compliant bathroom with the shower. We don't have the cost estimate yet, but the Public Works garage is the only area that hasn't been remodeled. The bathroom is 60 to 70 years old. It additionally, the Public Works people, although they're not in there a lot because they're out working, there's fumes, there's chemicals, so where they sit is all an open area. The idea for this would be to move upstairs where they all meet, which is right in where people pull in with cars and there's exhaust, to the 2nd floor. There's a lot of work to get done, but Public Works has offered to do a lot of the manual labor themselves. And we feel that they can do at least 50 or 60% of this ahead of time. Of course, the electricians and any plumbers would, that work would have to be done by a licensed person. But we would like to get some cost estimates on this just to see. They would be moving upstairs. The oil room would move downstairs. They're moving oil up steps onto this second floor. That's just an accident or an injury waiting to happen. So I would like to get, we don't have a cost estimate yet, do we?
Do not, for the public works meeting, we'll have a sketch and a rough cost estimate, materials and any items need to be bid for.
Very good, thank you. So we need to get the MTF walkways project bid, is that correct?
Yes, we have, 8,000 left over from, the grant or the project that was awarded last month. We did talk to the grant agency and, they indicated that they would let, the rest of the amount be changed over in, so it was in the original scope. So we're preparing a document now. It won't be ready for, this, month's, public works meeting. But it will be for next month's, and that could be added by change order. We want to prepare the document, send it into the funding agency, get their confirmation, and then we have a change order prepared. And deliver on his contract to do that next section that was in the original grant.
So we don't need to do anything on this.
Well, I thought we were gonna have to bid, but we not based on the funding.
Well, talk about something that's taken a long time. Our new roadmap, which would also even need, is it an ordinance or a resolution must be formal?
It's an ordinance.
Okay, thank you. We've been working on this for some time now. We're just double checking. We named all the unnamed alleys, and that was done by a resident request. People send in, names, so we'll get to that yet one of these days, and I hope sooner than later. So we're all good then with the road program. We don't need anything to discuss. Is that correct?
Correct. I do have an update on the schedule. We have pre-construction meeting today. They're going to start, building tomorrow. It's the earliest they come in many, many years to the borough. So the first 3 streets will be completed now, and then they'll come back for the remainder of the streets at the end of the month, because they have additional prep work on those. So half will be done now, the other half will be done in July.
And do we know what the first 3 are?
Yes, it is.
If you don't mind, Mr. Brett, Sylvan Way starting tomorrow, is that correct?
Yes. It is Sylvan Way, Ivy Alley, and Service.
I thought that Cherry Valley was gonna be started.
Cherry Valley, and Pipe Crew is working on another job. We did get a contract signed today. They indicated it'll come in at the end of the month also for that. So
Okay,
we asked for it to be done first, but their crew was not ready to run out of it.
thank you. That ends Public Works. Thank you.
Question,
Oh, yes, please.
where do you stand on the Forest Woodlawn Park, project?
Oh, PRP project, we're currently finalizing the design plans, based on what we have, field surveys have been updated for the, last few trees, pick those up, and wetland delineation was complete. So we're going to be ready, once in the advertisement, sure.
Thank you.
I think that ends Public Works.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Public Safety, Mr. DeCrossa.
Don't have any motions to recommend tonight, but I got a couple of general updates. Because of the safety concerns by council, we've been talking a little bit about the possibility of getting safety buzzers in smaller meeting rooms. I'd like to talk with Chief about that a little more, so we'll be talking about that in probably our next committee meeting. Also, we've updated some of the doorways and some of the glass that lead to this building for safety reasons. And we're also talking about the front windows to reception. We'd like to focus on that maybe in the next budget year. There's been some concern about certain speed bumps that have been put in on our streets. And how they haven't been installed correctly, or they weren't what people were asking for. All of those have all been installed up the code. I'm analyzing some of the speed monitor data now that was put on some of these areas. Just to understand, what the average speeds were, before and after the bump, and, and how those align with some of the concerns. So those are some of the main things we've been thinking about. And then, Chief, I was wondering, since we have a large public audience today especially, if you could give us an update on what happened at the situation at our North Shopping Mall this week.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I sent out a Saturday citizen yesterday about an incident that occurred in the Ardmore Center. In my Saturday, I mentioned that there were several shots fired, and that particularly occurred at the bottom of the parking lot near Hughes Boulevard, and it was an individual who took several shots on another individual, none of which struck him, fortunately. No one else was involved or injured in this. There were no vehicles struck. We understand that both suspects or both individuals left the scene in a hurry and ran off. We have gathered some evidence at the scene. There's also some video that's been provided as well. The Allegheny County Police Department and their investigators are also helping us with this. And when we get this evidence analyzed, we'll probably have maybe a better idea of what really may have happened here. Not to mention maybe who was involved, because that would be the greatest solution to this. Find out who did it and get them in custody. That's all I have.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Yeah, that's we have been, waiting to have a new borough manager to convene a, community emergency preparedness and resilience, action, plan. Particularly an information outreach effort to the public about preparing for extended power outages, because we are in a situation where many people in our communities have outages of 5 to 9 days within the last year. And I have had several discussions with Duquesne Light regarding why certain areas are out for so long. And I have requested what they call the dead end circuit map. They told me they cannot give me a dead end circuit map because of security reasons. However, they will give me the streets involved. So I am expecting that shortly. And I would like to have a meeting of our emergency preparedness team to begin looking at some of the after action recommendations that were made earlier and evaluate a plan of communication forward.
Yeah, we've been having we were waiting for you guys to arrive, so.
So I just wanted to remind you that is pending and that I would like to see with convenience sooner than later.
That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Mrs. DeCrosso. Does anyone have any old business?
Okay.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I have to go.
okay.
Thank
Under new business, we have discussion of committees comprised of resident volunteers. Who's that?
That's me.
Ms. Lewis?
I prepared a statement. I want to publicly acknowledge the numerous resident volunteers that we have in Forest Hills. We're very lucky to have such an active and engaged community. Prior to moving to Forest Hills, I lived in a municipality that regularly had committees and commissions with vacant seats. That's not unique, and many other municipalities in our regions have councils, committees, and commissions with positions that go unfilled. That's not the case here. Forest Hills has a pool of very engaged and active citizens, and I want to publicly acknowledge them and to say that you're valued. I especially want to thank those of you who are here today. As a member of council, I'm watching in real time the value that you bring to our borough, not only your passion, your ideas, and your time, but many of you perform services in our public spaces, like our garden clubs and our tree and shrub committee members, whose work allows our borough employees to focus on other things. Your time working in our parks, performing tasks that would otherwise fall on our public works department is invaluable. Collectively, you all hold a rich history of service, and I thank you for that. Sadly, recent events have brought to light the fact that some of you feel as though your time, your ideas, and your service are not appreciated. For example, Paul Kinnikotta resigned from his positions as chair of the Planning Commission and the Tree and Shrub Committee because, in his words, he felt that it should not be this difficult to volunteer, and people that do volunteer should not feel that their efforts are a waste of time. Following his resignation, there was a string of emails that ensued, as well as personal conversations where several other resident volunteers expressed similar sentiments. That is not the community that I want to cultivate, and as an elected leader, I'm encouraging my colleagues on council to recognize that all of our volunteers work hard and have value and deserve a seat at the table. We all need to come together to rectify this. In preparation for my comments this evening, I reread the advisory committee descriptions and the associated language on our website. And it says that our advisory councils are tasked to provide guidance, recommendations, and input on specific issues affecting the borough, and that they play an important role in fostering local engagement and ensuring that decisions made by local authorities reflect the needs and concerns of the community. Therefore, I'm glad to hear this evening that my council colleagues on Ops and Policy are working on a process to connect our advisory committees to our council committees so that we have a better and workable connection between our volunteer committees and council. Everyone recognizes that it is ultimately the job of our elected council to make the final decision on those things, but we need the expertise and input from our committees to do that well. Thank you, President Baird.
Thank you, Ms. Sings. Anyone else?
If I could just follow up Ian's comments.
Just if you'd like.
No, I really appreciate all the volunteers, all the volunteer committees, if everything's working properly, we should be taking the weight off of borough employee, borough staff, borough council to pick up the slack in some areas where public works or other organizations can't get things done. So, we greatly appreciate that. I think we just need to get back on the same page. Obviously, there's some issues here, right, with communication between council and committees, the other borough departments. So whether that's getting back to having a council member be a liaison with those committees, so we can keep information flowing, be on the same page with projects and things like that. We just need to figure something out. Obviously, if there's almost every committee seems to have issues, right? So it's not you, it's me type situation. You're right. It's not just one committee, it's not just one person, it's all of them. So we need to do better to try to get those things sorted out.
Thank you, Mr. Lacker. Anyone else? No. Okay. Our next scheduled council meeting is, pardon me?
Business item.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have, we would.
Mayor DeMarco, go ahead.
I have been reviewing the property transfers every month and sending the approved welcome neighbor letter that went through Ops and Policy to those who are the property owners. And I noted that out of 2 pages of property transfers last month, there were only 8 that were persons. The majority of these transfers are going to LLC mortgage companies or property management companies, primarily in California and Arizona. And I am concerned about the trend that I see in the property transfers of borough properties to out-of-state entities whose intentions are obscure. And I wanted to seek advice of council as to what communication we may send to such people, inquiring of their intentions for the properties that they're acquiring in our borough, given that it's the majority of the property transferred at this point. And I have 3 months of data that document that in pretty clearly. So I brought it up as a concern that I had observed, that I would like to call to your attention and seek advice on what you think we'd like to have some anticipation of what might be coming down on this result.
Thank you, Mr. Corbo. I hate to put you on the spot, but is there anything that you could add to what Ms. DeMarco mentioned?
There's no restriction to you inquiring with those entities as to what their intentions may be. And have at it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Lewis?
Only just to say that that is a significant issue. It has been for many communities in our region, also nationally. And the best defense for the less than responsible out of town property owners is code enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. Okay, our next council meeting is Wednesday, June 17th at 7 PM here in council chambers. This meeting will be adjourned unless there are any objections. Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Oh, stop people from bothering.